Namaste friends. Many years back I predicted that the period from 2020 till 2036 will be a turbulent period for the world and a period of major geopolitical transformation. In this video I will take four important countries, China, Russia, India and USA, and try to throw a little more light, try to break it down into good and bad phases within that period. What are the phases for these four countries? And I will give the detailed astrological analysis later, but I'll just give the high level expectations first. First, let us go through China. The period from 2020 till late 2020 till spring 2024 is a great period for China. This is a period when China will really rise as a superpower. This is a period of economic struggles. Chinese economy will be turbulent during this period, and also there'll be some social unrest. But in spite of that, China will succeed in increasing their power and influence across the world and establishing themselves as a superpower. So this is a great period for China's geopolitical situation. And spring 2024 till spring 2025 is a period when China will be aggressive and use that position further to leverage and expand their reach in the world. They will try to accumulate more properties, more influence across the world in areas that they may not have been earlier, and also in areas where they were earlier, they will try to consolidate their position. So this is a very important year for China. And as a result of that aggression, in spring 2025 to spring 2026 period, there will be some increased struggles in economy. So Chinese economy will struggle further during that time because it will be overstretched because of the aggressive moves of China across the world. And as a result of that, there will be some unrest in the society. There will be further unrest in the society. And in spring 2026 to early 2028 period, those economic troubles will spill over into the society and social unrest, and some kind of rebellion will increase in the country. But the Chinese leadership will succeed in keeping it under control and not letting it boil over and destabilize the country. But this will be a very unstable period for the country, when country will be asking a lot of existential questions. And then in the early 2028 to early 2030 period, this will make China take some aggressive steps. And also during this period of weakness, when China is trying to contain the unrest within the country, US, the other titan who's trying to control the world, will basically take some aggressive steps against China. So the clash between the Cold War between China and US will come out into the open in this period, and and China will be compelled to act aggressively. So this is a period when China and US will confront more directly, and the Cold War will start to turn into a real war. And this period, the period from early 2030 till early 2034, is a period when China is likely to force itself into an unneeded war, a major war, and it will lose badly in that war. There will be major losses for China in that war. And the period early 2034 till early 2038 is a period when, after the losses and as a part of the rebuilding, the inherent contradictions within the Chinese society will come to the fore, and China will break into multiple countries. This is a period when China will disintegrate. So these are what I expect for China at a very high level. Now let us look at Russia. The period late 2020 till end of 2021 is a period of struggle and internal problems for Russia, and the end of 2021 till late 2024 is a period of wars for Russia. Russia will be involved in a war or a few wars in this period. So this is a period of military struggles military conflicts for Russia. So, as far as Ukraine war is concerned, there was a window of opportunity for peace last May and it did not work out. And there is another window of opportunity in the spring period. It may work out or it may not work out. I cannot be 100% sure. So either if the Ukraine war ends, there will be some other conflict somewhere else, or Ukraine war, there will be a peace deal in the Ukraine war, but basically it will be broken later. Bottom line is till late 2024, it's likely that Russia will be involved in some military conflicts. And late 2024 till spring 2026, this is a period when this is a good period for Russia. Russia will be successful. So the wars that Russia was involved in will be successful for Russia. So this is a period when Russia will acquire and consolidate new lands and new natural resources, etc. So this is a period of success for Russia. But this success will come at a lot of cost to the country. The leaders will be very pleased and they will feel proud, but the common man will be really, really unhappy with it. And as a result, that unrest will boil over in this period. And also, Russia's support will be really from China. So China will be dealing with internal trouble. So that will basically cause some problems for Russia. So as a result, spring 2026 till spring 2029 is a period when there will be unrest within Russia also. The unrest in China will spill over to Russia. So China and Russia will be dealing with a lot of internal unrest and lot of turmoil and lot of uprising. And between spring 2029 to early 2031, Russia will be involved in a war along with China. And in this war, Russia will have an upper hand till early 2031. Russia will be doing very well till 2031, but after early 2031, the luck will change and Russia will start to lose. And early 2031 to mid 2034 is a time of great loss and fall for Russia. Now for USA, the period late 2020 till mid 2022 is a period of reviving military aggressive military strategy in US. And of course, we saw that Trump's approach was undone by Joe Biden. He did not get US into any wars, but basically the posturing with Ukraine, provoking Ukraine against Russia and strengthening NATO and basically strengthening NATO in the Western Europe and not addressing Russia's concerns and also becoming more aggressive in the Taiwan region, all that basically is shown by this. So this is a period when US will be very aggressive and bold in its international geopolitical strategy. And the period 2022 till 2025, this is a period when US will go through a lot of political turmoil. There will be a lot of political instability in the country in terms of what the country stands for internationally, what the country does in the global arena. There will be a lot of questions, and world will start to doubt US again. So this is a very unstable period for US politics. And mid 2025 till spring 2027, during this period, the US economy will start to struggle. There will be a lot of problems for the US economy, and as US economy struggles, there will be more the political unrest in the political and socio-cultural arena will be compounded by the struggles economically, and there will be a lot of unrest in US also in this period. And in spring 2027 to late 2030 period, US as a way to escape from some of these internal pressures, and also in an effort to expand US economy, in an effort to improve US economy, to get more control over some resources of the world, US will be in direct conflict with China. So there will be a conflict slowly developing between US and China from 2027 till late 2030. And from late 2030, September 2030 till late 2032, US will be involved in a major war in the world, and it is there will be a lot of losses for US in this period, but from late 2032 till late 2036, in this period, finally there will be peace, and also US will find some nice equilibrium that it can live with. But overall, what I expect is this decade and this Cold War and the actual war that will happen later will result in weakening of US stature in the world, but US will still continue to be a powerful country in the world. Oops, I forgot India and stopped the recording, so I had to restart. So anyway, let us look at India now. The period from late 2020 till mid 2022 is a period when India will have some challenges, some major challenges, but also overcome them, and also have some new beginnings and establish a nice sense of national pride. This is an overall mixed but slightly overall good period for India, but this is a really good period for India. From mid 2022 till spring 2025 is a period when India will be dealing with some global challenges successfully, and also become very assertive and bold in dealing with the other nations, and also expand their influence in the world, just like China has been doing, deal with a lot of countries and have very strong relations with a lot of countries, and have a strong reach and influence in the world. And also, this is a period, I actually, when I show the chart later, you will see the house basically that shows resources and properties basically is extremely strong, and it's interesting that in this period India discovered lithium reserves. But in general, this is a period when India can acquire some resources, very useful and important resources, as well as some lands. There is a possibility that India will acquire some lands from some neighbors in this period. That can't be ruled out. But this is a really positive period for India, but there will also be some challenges. The period from spring 2025 till spring 2028, this is the best period for India in this decade. This is a period when world will be struggling economically, including US, China, but Indian economy will be relatively better off, and India will be able to successfully decouple its economy from the rest of the world to some extent, and India will be in a good position. And also, this is a period when India will have extremely good leadership, a very strong, pragmatic, compassionate, and very realistic leadership that will put India on a really good path going forward. This is an excellent period for India. And then spring 2028 to mid 2031, India will be involved in a war or multiple wars. This is a period of wars that unfortunately can't be avoided. So India will fight some wars in this period, but luckily India will make a lot of preparations for that war in these previous two periods. So this is a period when India will fight a war, and it won't be a clear-cut victory. There will be a lot of struggles, but mid 2031 till late 2034 is a great period for India. So this is a period when India will succeed in the war, and also this is a period when India will rebuild, and in late 2034 to mid 2039 the rebuilding will be even faster, and there will be a sense of national pride and a sense of national identity in these two periods. Now let us look at some astrological analysis. In this video I'll be mainly using the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction chart. Saturn and Jupiter are slow-moving planets and very important planets for destiny, and also they represent the opposites of inhalation and exhalation, and expansion and contraction. So that is why when they come together, it's like a cosmic reset. It happens once every 20 years, and it sets the tone for the next 20 years. So if you make a chart for the exact time when Saturn and Jupiter are conjoined for the capital of a country, it shows how things unfold, how destiny unfolds for that country during the next 20 years. And I will primarily use the Shashtyamsya chart here. Parashara, when he taught various divisional charts, he said Shashtamsya Akhilam Ikshaye, which means in Shashtamsya you see everything, and it is a very subtle chart. All the divisional charts show your destiny, but Shashtamsya shows the subtlest portion of your destiny. So, and that is the one that is governing everything else. So, it is a very important chart that shows the subtle destiny that is unfolding for a country during the 20-year period. So, let us look at D60 of the Shashtamsya of the previous Saturn-Jupiter conjunction chart in 2020, which will govern till 2040. And before we do that, let's do that. This is the chart, and let us look at the 2000 to 2020 chart just as a reference. So I do one more time. So it shows you May 28 2000 chart. You can see that in the Shashtamsya, the third house contains two functional malefics, making China very bold in this period. Lagna Lord is in Lagna, excellent, that is excellent. 11th Lord in 11th, excellent gains. 9th Lord in 9th, very fortunate. And Raj Yoga between 7th Lord and 9th Lord. So there are some negatives also, but there are a lot of positives. So this is a period of China's great ascent as a superpower. And perhaps because of a few self goals scored by US, China basically got into a dominant position in the world during this period. For example, the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership that Obama negotiated, Trump walked out of it as soon as he was elected. And that basically stopped US cooperation, commercial cooperation, the trade with all these Pacific countries, Atlantic and Pacific countries like South American countries, South Asian countries, etc. That could have helped US. Now they are all in the bag of China. So that is one self goal. And then the trade war was probably not really smartly done. It emboldened China, and whatever China wanted to do but probably was hesitant to do, China was able to do right away. So it was another self goal. And then when Biden came, he undid Trump's policy of let's focus on US and let's not focus on the world, and he became more militarily aggressive across the world. Even though he didn't get into wars, he provoked China in Taiwan, he provoked Russia in Ukraine. So basically that again emboldened China and made them increase their resolve to take this confrontation, basically fast track the confrontation with US. So because of some self goals by US, the Chinese ambition to become superpower has been fast tracked in the last decade. So that is basically what we see in this chart. Let us look at current chart and see what the next 20 years foretell, because it's not necessary that the next 20 years be like the previous 20 years. So if you look at this chart, the greatest blessing in this chart is that Lagna Lord, 9th Lord Saturn is in 9th house and he is Yokarka. So that is a great blessing. So there is Saturn is a blessing in this chart. And what are the another good thing is Sun and Mercury have a parivartana. It's not really any yoga, but second and fourth, wealth and properties. It shows basically using the wealth to gain more properties and using the properties to gain more wealth. So it's a good thing materially. The negative things are, the biggest negative thing is Lagna Lord Venus is in Manakarka Sthana. See, in Bhavachakra also of Shashtamsya, he is in 6th house. So longitude wise also, he is in 6th house. So Lagna Lord in Manakarka Sthana is never good. It basically kills that chart. It kills the strength of that chart. And the other thing is, the Maraka Mars is very strong in his own house of 12th house, which shows losses, giving up. And in the case of mundane astrology, it can also show a country breaking up. So 12th house of loss and breaking up is very strong. And his Lord is aspecting the Lagna Lord who's in Manakarka Sthana. And they are enemies. And he's weak and he's strong. So that's not good. And the other thing is Moon. The third Lord is in the 2nd house. That is a Maraka. Moreover, Sun, because of the Parivartana, acts like he's in one house. So it's like 3rd Lord and 2nd Lord are together in the 2nd house. So that's even a stronger Maraka combination. And like I said, the other Maraka, Mars, 7th Lord is strong in one house. So there are some Maraka combinations. Now, to see when things will, good and bad things will unfold, we need to look at the Dasha. Some people may think that Ashtotri Dasha will apply because Lagna Lord is in Kendra with Rahu. That's Kendra and Kona with Rahu, but that's not the case. If you look at the longitudes within D60, Venus is at 24 degree Libra, Rahu is at 8 degree. So the distance is more than 15 degrees. So which means from Venus, Rahu is actually in the 12th house. So if here I made the Bhavachakra from ascendant. If I make Bhavachakra from Venus, you will see that Rahu will be in the previous house. He will be in the 12th. Is it 12th or 2nd? Yeah, 12th house actually. He will be here. He will be in the 12th house. So Ashtotri doesn't apply. And Lagna is in Vargottama, because you see that Lagna is 16 degree Taurus, that is the middle Navamsa of Taurus. So Lagna is in Vargottama. So in other words, if you make Navamsa of Shashtyamsa, Lagna will be Taurus there also. So that is what we mean by Lagna in Vargottama. So if Lagna is in Vargottama, Shatabdika Dasha applies, and the controlling planet for that is Sun, and Sun is strong because of the Parivartana. He acts as though he is in one house. So Shatabdika Dasha will dominate over Vimshotri Dasha. So if you make the Shatabdika Dasha of D60, Shani Dasha is running till 2024 March, and Shani is a brilliant planet. He is the 9th lord in the 9th house. So in this period, China will really rise and they will be very fortunate. And if you look at Rasi chart, he is the 4th lord in the 4th house and also Yokarka. So they increase their properties in the world. If you look at Navamsa, he is the 4th and 5th lord, Yokaraka in the 6th house. So they aggressively posture themselves in their relations and have strong relations with all countries. In Hora chart, Saturn is Badhaka in the 8th house, which is not good. So for economy, this is not a good period. There are no blessings in economy struggles. But in various other areas, China is basically strong. So this is a great period for China. By the way, Jupiter is there, 8th lord debilitated. So it can show that this rise and prosperity occurs in the backdrop of some disease or something, some pandemic or something. That's what it could show. But overall, this is a period of prosperity and great rise for China as a superpower. Sun period. Sun is the 4th lord in the 2nd house. So the planets, their agenda is decided based on the houses that they own, and how they implement the agenda is based on the houses they occupy. So being the 4th lord, he will, and in the 2nd house, he will give more properties. China will use his wealth to increase his properties across the world. So their influence will increase across the world during this period. And in moon period, if you see, by the way, if you look at the Navamsa, Rasi, Sun is the 11th lord in the 3rd house. So basically gains and aggressive gains. And if you look at Navamsa, 11th lord of gains in the 9th house of diplomacy in terms of relations with other countries. So China will do strong diplomacy, aggressive diplomacy, brave diplomacy, and increase their properties across the world. And if you look at the Chandra Dasha, Moon Dasha from 2025 to 2026, Moon is, like I said, Maraka. So he shows some serious trouble for the country. And what are those troubles related to? Probably not relations with other countries. In the Rasi chart also, Moon is not, Moon is in the 6th house in Rasi chart. So there can be some enmity with other countries, some rivalry. The rivalry with other countries can take a toll on the country. But I think Hora chart is one important chart here. If you look at the Hora chart, Moon is in the 12th house of loss. So there can be some financial setbacks for the country during this period. And overall, if you look at D40, which shows, as I explained in a previous chart, whether somebody is flowing with the divine will or swimming against it, whether things are smooth or very problematic. So Moon is the 3rd lord in the 12th house. So he is a functional malefic and he is not well placed. So this is a period when things won't be smooth for China, and there will be a lot of suffering for China. And if you look at the next period of Venus, this is a critical period because Venus is Lagna Lord in Manakarka Sthana. So this is a period of great struggle for China. And you can see that in the D40 chart he is actually fine. But if you look at the Hora chart, he is Maraka. And if you look at the D30 chart, he is the 7th lord and 12th lord in the 8th house. So 7th lord in the 8th is Marka. So D30 shows internal struggles within the country. So what it suggests to me is during this period, there will be some uprising within China for whatever reason. Maybe economy as a result of previous expansions by China, economy will slow down in this period 2025 2026, and economy will seriously struggle in this period, and people will be unhappy. So there will be protests and rebellion within China. And also, if you look at Venus in the D11, okay, there is nothing special here. So it is possible that in this period there will be some internal struggle in China. And if you look at the next period of Mercury, what I was going to say is Venus, if you look at the Navamsha chart, he's the 8th lord aspecting the 8th house. So it can show some problems with other countries also, in relations with other countries. So because of the internal struggle, China may deflect some of it to foreign relations. And if you look at let us quickly look at D11. Is there anything happening in D11? No, there isn't. Okay, good. So if you look at the next period of Mercury, Mercury is the in the D60 chart, he is a functional benefic, and he has a parivartana. He is in the 4th house. He has a parivartana with Sun. So again, these problems during this period, this is the peak. These problems may continue because he is Lagna Lord. So irrespective of the Dasa, once the Lagna Dasa triggers it, it may continue. But the thing is, it may not be the focus during this period. During this period, China may again start to expand in the world. And Jupiter is an interesting period because he is the functional malefic in the D60 chart, and he is afflicting the 9th Lord. And if you look at the D40 chart, of how things are going for you, in the D40 chart, he is a functional malefic, so he is not a good planet. In the Rasi chart, he is the 6th lord and 3rd lord, showing being aggressive and quarrels with other people, etc. In Navamsha chart also, he is the 3rd and 6th lord in the 6th house with Gurjandal Yoga. So it is likely that in the 2030 February to 2034 February period, China will get involved in some wars basically. And is it a good period for China for winning wars? Not really. This is a bad period. And if you look at the 2034 period, the Mars period, Mars is the 12th lord in the 12th house. So this is a period of losses. This is a period when China can even break up into multiple countries after a loss in the war. So this is basically what I can say about China. Let us look at Russia. And of course, I will using further more techniques. I will be basically throwing more clarity as we get closer to 2030. And by the way, in a previous video, I mentioned that in 2030, Saturn and Rahu in Rohini in Taurus. No, actually Saturn and Ketu in Rohini in Taurus, and Jupiter and Rahu in Scorpio will be almost in perfect Samsaptaka. So that is at the end of 2030, October or so. So that is when I said there will be a major war, and we see similar indications in China's Shani Guru conjunction chart. Let us make a chart for Russia now. If you make a conjunction opposition chart for Russia, the Lagna here is Capricorn. And if we look at the from Lagna Lord Saturn, first of all, let's analyze the chart. The 10th house is very strong. 10th Lord is in one sign, and also Rahu Ketu are there. So ruler will be very aggressive and strong for the country, and Rahu Ketu involvement may mean he'll be very bold and kind of headless. And Mars is 4th Lord in the 4th house. So 4th house shows properties, so country will be very aggressive in acquiring properties. And Saturn is Lagna Lord in Lagna, so but the problem is Saturn in 1st house is in Manakarka Sthana. So Lagna Lord is in Manakarka Sthana here also. even though he's in one house. So again, Venus was also in one house in the other chart. So it shows basically some existential problem, some serious suffering for the country. And seventh lord moon and the eighth lord sun are together, but actually longitude wise eighth sun is in the seventh house, so they're not exactly in the same house. So seventh lord moon in the sixth house shows quarrels and fights and wars with other countries, and eighth lord sun in the seventh house shows death, basically marka, so death like suffering for the country. So let us look at how dasas. Overall this is a mixed chart, but there are more negatives than positives, just like in the case of China's chart. For them, Lagna Lord Shani is at 1 degree Capricorn, Rahu is at 8 degree Capricorn. So he is in a quadrant, and Mars is strong, and he is at 12 degree Aries. So mole of Trikona. So Ashtotri will dominate. Plain Ashtotri, no variation like Tara. So Ashtotri Dasha, and we have to make sure is Sun here, the default. So these are the Dashas. And let us look at the, see, Sun Dasha is not a great Dasha. He is 8th lord in the 7th house, so this is a marka. So this is a period of suffering for Russia, and of course this is a period when pandemic took a lot of life, so that could be shown by the marka combination. And if you look at the moon period, this is when the war started, 2022 February. So soon after moon dasha started. Why? Moon is the 7th lord of relations with other countries and neighbors, etc. And he's in the 6th house of war, quarrels. So it shows fighting with your friends. 7th house is friends or nearby people. So fighting with your neighbors. So this is a period of war. And based on this chart, from late 2021 till late 2024 is a problematic period. And Mars, he's the 4th lord in the 4th house. So this suggests that this is a period, because Mars has is also the 11th lord aspecting the 11th house of gains, and he is 4th lord in the 4th house. So it is possible that, even though I said in the past that in the spring there is a window of opportunity for peace in the Ukraine war, it is possible that this war will drag on for many years, and in the end, in the 2020, late 2024 or 2025 period, Russia will gain. At that time, basically, there will be a conclusion to the war, and Russia will end up with some new land that it wants. Not only land, but land that has a lot of natural resources. So Mars will give some natural resources to Russia, and Mercury, he is the 9th lord in the 8th house. So let us see if he shows anything interesting in the Dasamsha. Rasi chart, nothing interesting. If you look at the Dasamsha chart of governance, nothing interesting. Trimsamsha. Okay, in the Trimsamsha chart is the 8th lord, afflicting sun in the 12th house. So again in the Mercury period, 2026 to 2029, and because he is in the 8th house, even though he is the 9th lord, being in the 8th house, by the way, he is also the 6th lord. So he can give some turbulence in the country, and Trimsamsa shows that also. And Rasi chart, he is afflicting Lagna lord. He is a functional malefic. So there are some indications that in this period, around this period, I think we saw that there will be some turbulence in China. So there can be some internal strife within Russia, basically. All the gains in the war will come at a cost. And when people basically start dealing with it, there may be some internal struggle within Russia. And if you look at Saturn period, Saturn is Lagna Lord in the Lagna. So Lagna Lord in the Lagna is strong, but at the same time he is in Manakarka Sthana. So they can be and let us look at the D30 chart. So Saturn is here. He is a functional malefic, so he is not really a good planet. He is a functional malefic, and he aspects the 6th house, nodes in the 6th house. He also aspects the Lagna. So in Saturn period, those struggles can continue, but really the interesting period is, and by the way, Saturn, if you look at the Navamsa chart, or D11 chart, Saturn is the Lagna Lord, aspecting the 3rd house and the 6th house, and as also with the sixth third lord and aspect in the sixth lord. So it is possible that in this period there can be some wars that Russia will get involved in. Also, mainly in the Rasi chart, he's the sixth lord in the sixth house, showing at the physical level some wars or quarrels with other countries that you are involved in. He's also the seventh lord, but seventh lord in sixth. So he acts more as sixth lord in the sixth. So th- it is a period when there can be some wars. Being the Lagna Lord in Lagna, he can give lot of success, but also being in Manakarka Sthana, he can give some setbacks. So this is a period, mixed period, but with more positives. But Guru is a terrible period. Guru, he is the third and 12th Lord of loss. So he third Lord debilitated shows losing your courage, and 12th Lord basically he shows loss. So third and 12th Lord afflicting Lagna and Lagna Lord in the Lagna and also debilitated. So this is a period when there will be a loss in war, and there will be lot of struggles in the country, lot of struggles in Russia. So this is what I see for Russia. Now finally let us look at India. Let's click this button. So same day, of course, December 21, 2020. For India also, the Lagna is like Russia. It is Capricorn. But the difference is the 10th Lord Venus is now in the 10th house. So longitudes are different. And also D40, other charts will be different. So let us look, and also Dasha may be different. So let us look at what Dasha applies for India. So here you see that D60 longitude is 14 degree. So if you make D12 of D60, that will D12 starts from Sagittarius and goes. So the sixth one will be Cancer. So Dvadasamsa will be Cancer. So if Cancer Dvadasamsa and Venus is strong, Panchotri will dominate. So Panchotri is the right dasha for India. That will dominate all other dashas. So if you look at the Panchotri dasha, and by the way, one second, let me. So if you see, if we analyze the chart for India also, fourth lord Mars is strong, but the thing is the strength of the 10th lord. For Russia, 10th lord was in the Bhadkasthana. For India, 10th lord is in one house. So even though Rahu and Ketu are in the 10th house, for Russia, 10th house had only Rahu Ketu. Venus was actually in the Bhadkasthana in the 11th house. Here, because Venus is also there, he will dominate. And Venus shows somebody who is very pragmatic, very intelligent, a capable leader, basically good leadership. And fourth house containing Mars shows increase of property. So just like Russia gaining some land, India can also gain some land in this period. And Lagna Lord Saturn is in Lagna, again in Manakarka Sthana, just like Russia. So that is the same. One thing that is, again, another thing that is different is the Sun. He is actually in the sixth house. So the Parivartana between Sun and Mercury is even stronger. In the other case, it wasn't really a clear Parivartana, it's only sign Parivartana. Here, 6th Lord and 8th Lord have a Parivartana. So that's a Viparita Raj Yoga. So this Parivartana is a better yoga here. So, and of course, Dashas will change. And if you look at the D40, will also be different. Let us see the Panchotri Dasha now. If you see the Panchotri Dasha, Saturn Dasha is running. Yeah, Saturn Dasha is running right now. Not right now. Actually, it ran till 2022 May. So that was basically a period of Lagna Lord in Lagna, basically some good strong measures, applying intelligence well, doing the right things, and also some suffering because he's in Manakarka Sthana. So this was the period when there was pandemic, lot of toll in India, but the vaccination rollout happened nicely, and India basically became proud in itself. So all that happened in Saturn Dasha. And if you look at the Mars period, if you see the Mars period, uh, Mars is from 2022 to 2025, and he is the fourth lord. So this is a period when India can make foray into the world and gain more influence across the world, just like China is doing. So in several third world countries, India's reach will expand. India will own new properties, etc. And because Mars is the planet of war, aggressive planet, and also he's in the fourth house of properties, it is also possible that India will annex some land from another country, a neighboring country. That is also a possibility in this period. And if you look at the Venus period, Venus is the 10th lord in 10th. So this is a period when India will get a really strong leader, a very compassionate. Venus is compassionate, pragmatic, and strong leader in this period. So this is a period when India will get good governance, and also Venus is the 5th and 10th lord in the 10th house. So he is Yokaraka. So India's influence in the world will increase in this period. So this is a period when China is under some turmoil, Russia is under some turmoil, and US is going through some, we'll see US later, US is going through some troubles. India's position in the world will increase 2025 to 2028. And if you see the Kavedamsa chart, Venus is the 5th lord in own house. So this is a very smooth period for India. And if you look at the Hora chart, Venus is Yokarka in a Kendra. So Indian economy will actually be doing very well in this period, even if some other economies are struggling. And if you look at the Navamsya, relations with other countries, Venus is giving Viparita Raj Yoga. So India's relations with other countries after some struggles will be going up. So overall, this is a fantastic period for India. And in moon period, if you look at the moon period, moon is the seventh lord in the 6th house. So it was that period that got Russia into war with Ukraine. And this is a period when India is likely to get into a war. In 2028 to 2031 June period, India will get into either a major war, a world war, which is probably in the 2030 period, or perhaps a local war with a neighboring country. So, but this is a period of wars for India, 2028 to 2031. And if you look at Jupiter, if you look at the Jupiter period, Jupiter is the third lord and 12th lord in the Lagna. But if you look at the, let's see, one second. If you look at the Rasi chart, he is the 8th lord in the 6th house debilitated. So he basically shows ending of war. 8th lord in the 6th house will show ending of a war. And if you see the Navamsha chart of relations with other countries, it is Lagna lord in own house, in the 4th house of comfort and peace. So this is a period, and actually let us look at couple of more charts. If you look at D11 chart, he is the 6th lord of war, but he is in the 12th house of basically giving up. So combining all these things, and finally D40, is it a smooth period or a troublesome period? So if you look at the D40, he is a neutral planet and he is exalted in the 2nd house. So overall, he is a positive planet for India. Actually, no. It's not in slightly positive. It's very positive. So because 9th lord and 10th lord are together, so and aspecting the 10th house, the 10th lord aspecting 10th house. So this is very good for India. So this is a very smooth period for India. So even though Jupiter is the 3rd lord in the Lagna, debilitated, shows giving up war, combining that with the Kavaidamsa, what I conclude is it's not losing and giving up the war, but it's actually successfully finding peace. So this is a good period for India. And then Sandasya comes, Sun and Mercury periods. These are, they give a Viparita Raj Yoga. 6th lord and 8th lord are exchanging. So this is a Viparita Raj Yoga. So this is a period when India will rise from the losses from the war and the destruction from the war. India will rise and rebuild itself. And if you look at particularly if you look at the Kavedamsa, you can see that Sun, Sun is the third lord in the eighth house. So again, he's giving a Viparita Raj Yoga here. So, and Mercury is Lagna lord. So he's in general a benefic planet. So this is a period of Viparita Raj Yoga in terms of how smoothly things go. So initially things will not go smoothly, but they will become smooth later on, and this period things will go smoothly. So overall, uh, the expectation is that India will have a great period in the mid of this decade with excellent leadership guiding the country, and get into a war in the 2028-2031 period, and then in between 2031 June to 2034 November, the war will conclude, and after that they will be rebuilding. So that is basically what I can say about India. And finally, let us look at Washington DC. Let us make the same chart. Again, it will be the same date. Of course, the because of the time zone difference, it may be December 21, but it's the same moment in time basically. So in terms of Washington time, it is 1 p.m. on December 21 instead of December 22. So here Scorpio will rise. So in this chart, you will see that what are the positives and negatives. First of all, positive. The Lagna Lord Mars is in the 6th house, in own house, in Mula Trikona. He is very strong. And Venus, the 12th Lord, is in 12th house in own sign with friends. So that is a nice yoga. That is a Vimala yoga. So 12th Lord in 12th shows nice peace of mind in the end, having found peace in things. And the negatives are that the second lord Jupiter and the third lord Saturn are in the second house, house-wise. So they are in Capricorn, but they are in the second house. So second lord and third lord together is a Marka combination. So this is not a good combination. And the other thing is the 9th and 10th lords are together. That's a Dharma Karmadhipati yoga. It's a great yoga, but it's happening in the 8th house. So there will be a lot of success in doing the right things, but with lot of struggle, after lot of struggle. So this is a mixed chart, but overall positive chart. And what is the best dasha here? Here, from Lagna Lord Mars, Rahu is in a Kendra, so Ashtotri will apply. And because from Lagna Lord, if you look at 3rd and 8th Lords, 8th Lord is strong, Mars. So Tara variation of Ashtotri from Mars will apply. So let us look at that is the strongest dasha in this chart. So let us change Sun to Mars. So these are the dashas. So in the current in the 2020 to 2022 period, basically only the first year and year and a half of Joe Biden. So this period was Mars. So this was an aggressive period. 6th Lord Mars in 6 shows aggression. So in US did not get into a war, but they actually did get into a proxy war in Ukraine. Unless US basically supported Ukraine and promised arms and provoked them to poke their nose at Russia, the war may not have happened, for all you know. So this was a period when US got into a proxy war and was very aggressive. And also this is the period when Biden reactivated NATO dominance in the Western Europe, which Russia did not want. So all these aggressive signs, basically undoing some of Trump's policy, happened in this period. And if you look at the Mercury period, Mercury is the 8th lord in the 10th house. By the way, there is a parivartana between 8th and 10th lord. So that shows instability in governance in US in this overall in this period, but particularly in Mercury period. So the current period as well as till mid 2025, there will be a lot of political turmoil in US. So the coming elections, also at the time of elections, before and after the elections, there can be a lot of political turmoil, and country can be split and no clear direction, no clear governance. And then the Saturn period comes. Saturn and Jupiter from 2025 till 2030. So like I said earlier, they are Markas. Third and second lord together in the second house, and that's a Marka combination. So there will be a lot of struggles and suffering. And what areas will it be involved in? Let us look at Hora. Saturn and Jupiter are in the 8th house, So it can economy will struggle during this period, and but in Rasi there isn't anything really negative. Let us look at Navamsa. In Navamsa, Jupiter is the eighth lord, afflicting Yokaraka Saturn. So Jupiter period, there is a possibility of basically relations with other countries suffering, and also possibility of a war in the Jupiter period. And if we look at D40, yeah, D40 wise, Venus is the only good dasha. Okay, so uh, going back to the Rasi chart, if we see the Rasi chart, Jupiter is the ninth lord and Saturn is the 10th lord. So there's a Dharma Karma Adipati Yoga in the 10th house. So again, during these periods, US will get involved uh, in lot of international in Saturn period, because he's the lord of the ninth house of diplomacy and the 11th house of gains. US will get involved in a lot of diplomacy with other countries, and in Jupiter period that will cause a lot of problems. And if you look at D11, Rudramsa, chart of war, Saturn and Jupiter are together. Jupiter is the eighth lord, so there is a possibility of war in Jupiter period. Some groundwork in Saturn period, but Jupiter is the one who can give it. So this is a period when US will, after some financial struggles of the economy, the reasons for those can be power struggle with China, and seeing that China is also weak, US can try to basically dominate in Taiwan or other areas, and there can be an explicit war in this period. So this is a period when a war is very likely, and this is a period, Rahu is in the 12th house. For Rahu, 12th house is not a good house, so this is not a good period of success. So US may struggle for a few years, and Venus, he is the 12th lord in the 12th house, so this is when there can be some good peace for US. But the thing is, if you look at the Rasi chart, Venus is Maraka. By the way, Rahu is also Maraka. He is debilitated in the second house. So, and Venus being the second and seventh lord in the eighth house, he's a Maraka. So these periods, US can face lot of losses, but in this period, when Venus period comes, because of the Shashtamsa, US is likely to find some peace in that period. War is likely to end. And as we saw in the Khavedamsa earlier, Venus is ninth lord in the ninth, so it's a very smooth dasha for US. So this is the period when US is likely to find some peace, and but it will come at some cost. So this is basically what I can say at a high level at this point of time. And as I said earlier, as we get closer, I will try to get into more specifics. Thank you very much. Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Sri Krishnarpanamastu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu. Yavad Bhumandale Sanatan Dharmo Vardatu. विशेषतः भारतखंडे अमेरिकावर्षे टिबेट् राष्ट्रे च ओम शांति शांति शांति।